Welcome to Cedar Publishing and Media Behind the Scenes. My name is Valerie Lovelace, and I will be your host today. Joining me is Sarah Hadsel, author of new children's book, Pirates Love Pajamas. Thanks for joining me, Sarah.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yes, I'm so happy to meet you. I read your book to my daughter, and she is 5, and she absolutely loved it, as well as I enjoyed reading it to her. It's adorable.
Well, thank you.
So let's get into your background a little bit. What is it that you do that led you to writing a children's book?
So writing is something that I've loved to do for almost as long as I can remember. So in middle school, I had a teacher who gave us an assignment to write a story. And fortunately, people gave me lots of great feedback, and it seemed to be a talent that I had, and so I've kind of done it ever since.
Wow. So one thing I've noticed from interviewing, a bunch of authors is that somebody gave them some positive feedback. So let that be a lesson to all the teachers and parents out there.
Absolutely.
To inspire future authors, you have to give them some positive feedback, even if maybe they're not quite there, right?
Right. No, absolutely. 100%.
And you know all about inspiring children because you are a kindergarten teacher.
I am. I love it. It's one of my favorite things.
How long have you been doing that?
So I'm in my 3rd year of doing kindergarten. Before that, I taught 4th grade, and I did that for a couple years.
Okay. What made you switch from 4th to kindergarten?
I know, crazy, right? So 4th grade was going amazing, and I loved it, and there was nothing wrong with it. But I started having these thoughts come out of nowhere, like, hey, maybe you should look into if there was an opening, maybe switching. And that opportunity came, and administration approached me. And anyway, everything fell into place, and so I think it was meant to be. And so it's fantastic. I love it.
And what is the draw of being a kindergarten teacher?
You can't beat it. You get hugs when you show up to work, and the kids are so happy to be there, and you get to learn and see them grow, and it's just incredible. The kids are everything.
That is an age where they are still really excited about school, isn't it?
Yep.
That's awesome. My sister is a kindergarten teacher as well. So.
Oh, fun.
How has being a teacher inspired you to write for kids?
It's kind of funny. So I keep a kindergarten journal, actually, and I've started since I started teaching kindergarten. And I keep track of all the funny things that the kids say and do, and memorable things that I want to make sure that I don't forget. And I find all the time opportunities where they'll say something in class and it'll give me an idea for a possible story. I don't know. They're just so fun. They inspire me in a lot of ways.
So did your students inspire this book?
So this one I actually started when I was a 4th grade teacher. Funny story. So my mom was just asking me this morning. She was like, where did you get the idea? And when and where did you write it? I wrote it in a car, of all places. We were traveling to Tucson for Christmas several years ago. And I just had a notebook with me and a pen. And I don't know, the ideas just came and I kind of ran with it. And so it was fun.
So explain to parents, give them your best pitch of what this book is about and why they should buy it and read it to their kids.
Okay, so this book is about bedtime routines and that they're for everybody. It doesn't matter how old or young you are. And so the funny thing is I actually read this to my kindergartners yesterday for the first time. And one little girl, as I was reading it, she says, "Pirates don't wear pajamas." She couldn't wrap her brain around that. So it's all about bedtime routines and the fun that we have at bedtime.
So take us through the plot a little bit. It's kind of rhymey.
It is rhymey. So it starts out introducing the pirates themselves and all the normal pirate stuff that pirates do that we know about. So how they scrub the deck and they hoist the sails and obey captain's orders, and then they're working hard all day. The sun goes down and it's time to go below deck, and that's when all of that normal bedtime routine stuff comes into play that kids do at home.
Like brushing their one gold tooth.
Yep, you got it.
Oh, it's illustrated by Wes Wheeler, and the illustrations are gorgeous. Are you happy with them?
He is phenomenal. He worked absolute magic with this, and that's the one thing that I consistently hear among everybody who sees the book. They say he did such a good job, and the illustrations are so fun to look at and kind of study, because you'll notice things like there's animals on almost every page and fun little hidden things.
Yeah, he really put a lot of detail.
He did
into it,
right?
And there's one page with a pirate in his pirate bedroom, and there's a picture on the wall.
Let's see. I know exactly what you're going for.
What is the picture? I can't remember, but I was laughing. I'm gonna find it.
So he's got a poster on the wall, right? Is that the one?
Oh, yeah. Yes, the poster says Led Shippin'.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Instead of Led Zeppelin.
You got it.
So funny.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and you have some of your own children as well. Is that why you write? Is it for them?
You know, when they were little, for sure, that played into it. So I have 2 kids. I have a boy and a girl. They're both in high school now, so that's kind of crazy. I don't know where the time went with that, but they're 15 and 16. And yeah, I think they were a huge inspiration for, like, I have so many stories at home that aren't published, and they just sit at home in a box or in the computer, and they just are enjoyed by my family. But this is kind of a fun new adventure for me, being my first book, and we'll see where it takes me.
So how did you end up with Cedar Fort? How did you end up being published here?
Kind of a happy accident. I don't know if that's the right way to explain it, but I am a school teacher, like we talked about, and in the classroom right next door there's an art teacher, and he happens to have illustrated a book for Cedar Fort. And so he came to me last year and he says, hey, I hear that they're looking for children's books, and he's read my stuff, and so he said, I really think you should send it in. And I was like, oh yeah, you're so nice, that's great, I'll think about it, because I had tried for years to get published, and it's hard, right, to break in as a new author. But anyway, so it took me probably 2 or 3 months because I was busy being a teacher and being a mom, and I eventually thought, you know what, why not, I should go for it. And so I submitted it, and the rest is history.
Wow. So how long did it take before you heard back?
I don't think it was very long, within like a month or 2.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's really quick.
Yeah.
Awesome. What happened when you heard back? What was your reaction?
Absolute disbelief and pinching myself. And I feel like that's still the case, right? Like, I've been dreaming about this, like I said, since I was a teenager in middle school. And so it's just kind of it's been neat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so you didn't have an illustrator, or were you planning on using somebody else, or how did you end up with Wes? Me being new, I didn't even know how all of this works. And when I submitted it, I had mentioned to Cedar Fort that I knew the illustrator who works in the classroom right next door, and said, hey, if I have any say, like, he would be great, and if not, that's okay too. And so Cedar Fort ended up choosing Wes Wheeler, but it turned out, I think it's meant to be for sure. Yeah, definitely.
So happy with it.
What was the first thing that you remember writing that you were really, really proud of, that made you realize, wow, I really love writing?
It was a story in middle school, for a middle school assignment. It was, I don't remember exactly what the assignment was. I think it was just to write a story, and I ended up writing a children's story about a giraffe, and the title of the book was What About Me? And I got great feedback, not only from my teacher, but from my parents, my mom, and my dad, but especially my mom. She's just been my biggest cheerleader ever, and she's been telling me ever since the mid-90s that, like, you should get this published. You need to pursue this. You have a talent. And so, yeah.
So do you have any more books in the works?
So I have some other pirate stories that I've already written. Once I did this one, I had so much fun with it that the ideas just started pouring out of my brain, and I had this excessively long car trip to Tucson and all the way back to Logan. And so I, with the alliteration there with Pirates Love Pajamas, I started thinking of other things that start with the letter P that pirates might love. And so I have another story, not published yet, that's called Pirates Love Popcorn, and that's my second favorite to this one. It's about how pirates love to go to the movies too, just like the rest of us. I'm a huge movie fan, and so they end up having a movie theater hidden below deck, and that's a fun thing that they like to do on their time off. I have another one called Pirates Love Pancakes. We have a tradition in my family on Christmas morning where we get to basically eat ice cream for breakfast. So we have a big pile of pancakes and we load it with ice cream and all the toppings on top. And so that's where that story came from. Every kid's dream, right? Mm-hmm. To eat ice cream for breakfast. So those are a couple of my favorites, but I think I have a total of, like, I don't know, at least 8 or 10 different ones.
What is it about pirates?
They're just fun, right? Like, I'm not a girly girl. I've always been a tomboy. Growing up, I envisioned my dad as like this Indiana Jones kind of a guy, and not necessarily a pirate, but I don't know, maybe like this adventure. He is a historian. He was a history professor, and he would travel to South America and all these exciting, wonderful places that I'd never been. And so I guess I've always just had a big imagination and dreamed about, I live in this little box and this very unexciting life, or at least that's what I thought as a kid. And so my imagination would just take me places, and I thought pirates are just fun, right? Colorful and just fun to write about.
So I have a thing for pirates as well.
Yeah.
There are extensive pirateness in my novel that I wrote. And that's kind of the comic relief part of my book. So I have a soft spot for pirates as well, particularly the way they speak.
Right?
It's so fun to me, and the way that they dress and everything, and live on boats and have less teeth than they should. And so I think that's funny that, you're as obsessed with pirates as I am.
There you go.
I think everybody's obsessed with pirates right now after the whole 7-8 movies of Pirates of the Caribbean.
For real. Yes.
So yeah, pirates are fun, and they're caricatures, so they're fun to make fun of as well, right?
Yeah.
Are you going to be one for Halloween?
I should, right?
Yeah, you
I
should.
know. My students asked me the other day, Mrs. Hadsel, what are you going to be for Halloween? And they put me on the spot. I should have totally said a pirate.
It better be a pirate with pajamas on.
It really should be. I need to work on that.
Yeah, you need to get some striped pajamas and a captain's hat, a patch.
And I'll be set.
I want to see pictures.
Okay, we're going to make it happen.
That'd be so fun. So explain to any aspiring authors, what is your writing process like? Where does it start?
Just with a fun idea. Sometimes for stories that I've written, one line or one rhyme. So I like rhyming. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I grew up on Dr. Seuss and loved it. My mom loves Dr. Seuss, and I can vividly remember sitting on her lap in the rocking chair and her reading Horton Hears a Who and Horton Hatches the Egg and all of those fun things. And so I've always loved rhyming. But anyway, so an idea will come to me, sometimes one line, and then I just run with it. I'll get excited about it and think, oh my gosh, that one line is great. Let's build a story around that. Yeah.
Are you into music or anything else as
far as talented with music?
Yeah.
Do I play any instruments?
My sister is, very, very talented in music, and she also writes rhymey children's stuff too. So I just wonder if there's a correlation there.
I know, right? I love music. I don't have a whole lot of musical talent. I can kind of plunk out a few songs on the piano. I'm self-taught, no lessons, but I do love music.
Yeah, because the rhyming in poems and stuff is very similar to writing songs. So
yeah,
I just had to ask.
That's a fun question.
Yeah. So so do you get a lot of questions from people since you've been published about how they can break into the industry and what they can do?
Yeah, absolutely. So recently there was a woman who contacted me, and she said, hey, my son is a writer, and he's written children's books, and he's trying to break in, and do you have any recommendations, or what if he's self-published? Have you ever done that? Do you know anything about it? So I shared with her a couple of things. I haven't personally done it, but I've looked into it, and I know of a website called Upwork where I've previously done other odd jobs having to do with writing. But anyway, you can connect with people, other professionals online, whether they're illustrators or writers or people who can edit and help you put your book together and submit it to maybe a place like Amazon with their self-publication services. So like I said, even though I've never done it myself, I know there's resources out there, and it seems like it's easier nowadays than ever before with all of the resources we have online, and there's so many talented people out there who are ready and willing to help.
Did you consider self-publishing?
I did, for sure. And it was always just the cost that held me back. Like I said, I'm a teacher, and so funds, that's an issue, right? But for sure, I've considered it and looked into it over the years repeatedly.
Yes. I self-published a children's book along with my sister. She did the illustrations
that's
for
exciting.
it. And it's difficult without a publisher behind you to do children's books. For one, you have to print them yourself, and that can be, you would never make money.
Right.
You just can't print enough quantity. And I've heard that the Amazon ones that they print for you are just such low quality that it would be embarrassing.
Right.
To ship those out to customers. And And I don't know what it is about the ebooks that just don't seem to appeal to kids as much. Maybe because they don't move or,
Yeah,
or
right?
they have to read it, because if they're on an electronic device, they expect it to be like music. And
Yes, very interactive, right?
Yeah,
Moving
like
pictures and audio and all of that.
exactly, like a game or some sort. But, well, you could definitely find some really talented people to help you out with the artwork and stuff. I would recommend trying to find a publisher.
Yeah.
It's worked well for you.
It has, right? Yeah. Well, and another thought quickly with the self-publication was I wanted it to look professional. I wanted it to be
Right.
top notch. And so that was another thing too. It's like, if I'm going to do this, I want to do it right. And being able to afford those top notch artists, it just wasn't within reach for me personally. But
Yeah, and I mean, how do you find those people? That's not an easy thing to do. And that's one thing that Cedar Fort does so well is all the books that I've seen, they're just so beautiful. The printing is just top notch.
It is. It's gorgeous.
Beautiful.
I'm thrilled with it.
Yeah, I was so happy with my book as well. It was just so pretty, like artwork. Just so pretty.
Yeah.
So what else? What else are you doing in your life?
Being a mom and a teacher, I don't know. Those two keep me pretty busy
Yeah,
right
I
there,
bet.
right?
Uh-huh. So you do kindergarten. So do you do 2 classes of kindergarten a day?
I do. Yep. So AM and PM.
How do you do that?
With very little sleep. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just super busy. But the good thing is I love it. People tell me that all the time. They say, Sarah, you work so hard. But I tell them I love what I do. And so I don't mind. Like, I do work hard, but I want to be the best teacher I can be for those kids because they deserve it. Mm-hmm. So.
And I think teaching is such an important calling in life. I mean, I certainly have memories of good teachers and bad teachers.
We all do, right?
Yes. I remember, I bet you're a fun teacher like my first grade teacher, Miss McDonald. I loved her so much. She was so fun. And in fact, she built a pirate ship for us in her classroom.
No way.
Yes, she
Coolest
did.
teacher ever.
She was so cool. She was really awesome. So what's your teaching style?
My teaching style is, how would I describe it? I try to be fun. I connect with the kids. I always want them to know that I have time for them. And so one example of this is after school. It's kind of fun. There's just this steady stream of former students who come in to see me, and that means the world to me. But I'm fun. I integrate music into the classroom. Lots of stories, because clearly I'm a huge fan of literature and children's books. I want learning to be fun. I want them to enjoy coming to school. I want it to be a happy place. Coming to school should be a good, happy thing. And so that's my goal.
What do your students think about you writing a book? And
they just found out yesterday. So
they didn't know?
They didn't know, because I don't go out and toot my own horn, but I did bring it yesterday. We did a unit on maps, and so we made a pirate map, and that was not because of the book. Like, that's what I've had for the last few years that I've done with the kids. And so having made a pirate map with the kids yesterday, I thought, okay, this is a good opportunity to read the book. And so there were some eyes that bulged out pretty big and jaws that hit the floor when they heard that Mrs. Hadsel wrote this book. They were pretty excited.
And they can comprehend it at that age, like that you wrote it.
Absolutely.
They understand that.
Yeah. I mean, the looks on their faces told me that they could understand that and grasp it. And so we talked about how, it's at the library and they can check it out. And
I bet they're all so excited.
They're thrilled.
That is so fun. I can't even imagine, like, to have a teacher who writes children's books.
Right.
How fun is that? And you're going to keep continuing, right?
Yes, that's my goal.
As much as you can.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And do you plan to, if this really takes off, you plan to still be a teacher as well?
I'm never going to give that up. I love teaching too much. So I've got room in my life for both.
I just don't know how you teachers do it. I just don't know how.
I tell people quite often, being a teacher, in my opinion, is like being a mom. Best thing in the whole world. It's your highest of highs, but sometimes your lowest of lows. It's hard, right? Being a teacher is hard, and there's days where you go home and you want to cry, or maybe you really do cry, right? But it's those moments where you see the kids growing and learning, and when they give you a hug and tell you thank you or that they love you, it's all worth it. So to me, there's a lot of correlation between being a teacher and being a mom. Kind of fun.
How do you deal with like the repetition of being a teacher, because you're teaching the same thing year after year after year?
Right. It's fun because I keep the curriculum consistent, but I'm always looking for new fun things to integrate as well. So I'm never afraid to switch it up and bring in something new, whether it's through technology or new great books that I find that tie into a subject. I just want to keep it new and fresh, and whatever I can do to make it exciting for the kids.
Speaking of great books that you find, what authors are, kind of your favorites, your inspirations?
So I love the Paddington Bear series. That was one of my favorites as a child. So I'm trying to think. His last name is Bond, Michael Bond. I love Kate DiCamillo, if that's how you pronounce her name. So one of my favorites of hers is The Miraculous Journey of Edward Tulane. Amazing. If you've never read it, that's a really, really good one. And then one other not a new series, but a new book in the series just came out was the Snowmen series, like Snowmen at Night, Snowmen at Christmas.
Oh,
and there's
I've
new
seen that one.
Snowmen at Halloween. So cute.
A snowman at Halloween.
Yeah, it's adorable. And the artwork is, it's just classic and fun, and it makes you think of your own childhood. And that's a really good book.
Okay.
Highly recommend it.
Awesome. Okay, so tell all of our listeners where they can find you online.
So online, you can find my author website. So it's just sarahadsel.com.
And spell your last name for them.
So it's Hadsell. And I'm on Facebook as well. So here's another quick joke for you. The standing joke in my family is I'm stuck in the 90s. So I don't have Instagram yet, and I don't have Twitter and all of that. I'm working on it. I don't know what my problem is, but I do have a website, and I am on Facebook.
Okay, awesome. All right, well, thank you so much for joining me today, Sarah.
Yeah, thanks for having me.